Hi guys, thanks so much for checking out my video today. This video is actually part one of a series where I'm going to test out these different glues with rhinestones on a stainless steel tumbler. And the glues that I'm going to be testing out are Liquid Fusion, Gem Tack, Super Tight Fusion Tack, Crystal Glaze, Royal Glitz Diamond Glue, Dazzle Adhesive, and Bob Smith Industries 30-minute Cure Epoxy. Now, as I mentioned, this is a stainless steel tumbler, and I colored it different colors because I'm going to use different color rhinestones to apply with each of the glues. So then in the future, I know which glue I use for each color rhinestone. Like in case they fall off, then I know, based on what color it was, which glue it was that didn't hold it up too well. I have this color code cheat sheet, and this is how I will be moving forward with the testing. I am going to test out different tumbler surfaces as well in the future, and I'm going to use the same color code. So I wanted to save this on a little card. The light pink rhinestones are going to be applied with Liquid Fusion. Red will go with Gem Tack. Yellow with the Super Tight Fusion Tack. Green, Crystal Glaze. Aqua, the Royal Glitz Diamond Glue. Purple, the Dazzle Adhesive. And then hot pink will be applied by the Bob Smith Industries 30-minute Cure Epoxy. I will have a playlist linked in the description with all of the videos that I accumulate testing out these different glues. So definitely check that out. And then if you want to be notified of any videos that I have like this that come out in the future, definitely subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys so much. We are going to move on to testing out the Liquid Fusion. This is what the Liquid Fusion looks like. I'll have the links in the description on how you can purchase this. You can purchase it on Amazon through the manufacturer website. You can also get these at Michael's. So it really isn't hard to find. And for beginners, I definitely recommend starting out with this Liquid Fusion. Liquid Fusion is super easy to use. I did gather some information on a postcard here, and I'm gonna put it up to the screen so you can screenshot it if you like to save for your notes. According to the manufacturer, the features of this product include that it is non-foaming, low odor, which is actually really true. I never smell Liquid Fusion when I'm using it. It has no scent to me. It is waterproof. It dries crystal clear, which is also true. It does leave a very glass-like look to it when it is fully cured. You do not see the glue much in between the rhinestones. Like, you will see the glue if you put like such a big clump, but if you're applying the glue pretty evenly, it just looks really clear underneath the rhinestones and doesn't distract from the rhinestones. This is best used on non-oily surfaces. So we will get into prepping your tumbler in a little bit. I'll go over just a little brief description on how to prep your tumbler for the best adhesion with the glues. But that'll be in a bit. This works best on wood, unglazed ceramics, stone, fabric, and other porous surfaces. Now, instructions for using Liquid Fusion include apply an even coat to clean, dry surfaces. And for maximum hold, allow the glue 24 hours to cure. Now, the general dry time is between 25 to 30 minutes, but this does depend on how much glue you use and the temperature and humidity level in your area. Now, if you do need to clean up any glue while it's wet, you can just easily wipe it away with water. It's super easy clean. Again, it's super easy to use and really great for beginners. I always recommend sanding and washing your tumblers before applying glue and rhinestones to any type of tumbler, and also when you use any type of glue. That's just one recommendation I have across the board. And so I do have a video on how to prep tumblers. I'm not going to go through it step by step here because I've already prepped the tumbler, but if you do want to check out the video for step-by-step instructions on how to prep a tumbler, especially a stainless steel tumbler, check out the link in the description. I'll have that video linked there. As I mentioned, this tumbler is already prepped. I did sand it and wash it. I painted all these different colors using acrylic paint markers. I use these Posca ones, and you can get these on Amazon or even at Michael's. These are really easy to find. I'll have those linked as well in the description. But I colored all of these different colors. I just try to make a really, you know, not super, I didn't try to make like a super cool design. I just kind of wanted to make it look kind of cool, but also have different colors for the different glues. So I don't know how this is going to come out looking once it's fully blinged, but hopefully it comes out good. Anyways, I used the acrylic markers to color this in. I did a couple layers, and then I used dishwasher safe Mod Podge to seal the glue. To seal the paint. So you don't need paint or Mod Podge when rhinestoning, but it does look good when you have the color of the rhinestone underneath the rhinestone. It just helps the rhinestones blend in and give like a very cohesive look. So then you're not seeing like maybe the metal color underneath. It's not necessary, but it does make it look good in the end. Like the design just looks a little more flawless. So I like to paint or sometimes put vinyl underneath my rhinestones, and then the Mod Podge is to seal the paint on so that the paint doesn't chip or get washed away or even fade over time. You know, after having the tumbler for a long time, it just helps it last longer, helps the tumbler last longer. Now, before I move on to actually applying the rhinestones, I did want to share that although the Liquid Fusion comes in this bottle, and you can use it straight from, you can use it straight from the bottle. It does have like a tip where you cut this piece off, and then it has a hole where you can pour the glue out of. I like to put it in one of these needle tip bottles so that you actually get like a much smaller line, like a much smaller application of like the amount of glue coming out. So I like to use these. I'll link something similar in the description. I think I got this particular one from a small shop a really long time ago when I bought some rhinestones, but I'll link some similar ones that I have used on Amazon that work really well. So I'm going to go ahead and get my rhinestones ready. I'm going to do a scatter method. So I'm going to use different sizes of rhinestones. And I mentioned before that we're going to use light pink when using Liquid Fusion. So here are some 5mm size rhinestones. These are the biggest ones that I really use. So I have those prepped and ready. I have this tray where I'm going to put, oops, sorry. Oh my gosh. I'm going to put 4mm size, 3mm, and then also 2mm. Those are the different sizes that I'll be using today. And if you are interested in these flat back flipper trays, I get these from the Tumbler universe. I'll have those linked. I'll also have a video linked where I go over the different supplies that I use for blinging. So I may mention some here and there in this video and link them in the description. But if you want a full video, check the description for that. Okay, so I have all of these ready. And for this first part of the tumbler, I'm going to put the base row. So the base row is basically just the very rim of the tumbler. I want it to be a very straight row. So I'm going to apply just all around this rim. And then I'm going to let the glue dry for about 30 minutes to make sure that the rhinestones aren't going to budge and move. Because if they do move and end up overlapping, then eventually that rhinestone that's overlapped will chip off. And then I also don't want it too much under the rim, because then I personally just don't like that look. I want the full tumbler to be filled with rhinestones and no like crooked look along the rim. So this first portion, I will probably speed up here and there just so it's not super boring, but you'll see me applying just along the rim. For the other colors, I won't need to do that since they are under the rim, but for this light pink one, that is what you'll have to see me doing. So I mentioned before that adding the glue to this needle tip is going to make it a whole lot easier to apply. You don't want to put too much glue. You just want a really small amount. And so like a line about this is going to be really good. I like to have the needle tip bottle upside down while I'm actually applying the rhinestones because that'll help me like later with like getting the glue out. So I'm going to put it here upside down, let it rest there. Because I'm doing the scatter method, I'm going to put different size rhinestones all around in a row. Whoops, that one was upside down. But I'm just going to apply it onto the glue, and I'm not going to press too hard onto the glue because if you press too hard, the glue is going to come right out the sides from being underneath the rhinestone. And I actually want the glue in between the rhinestone and the tumbler. So I don't want to have it squish out too much. So just a light pressure is going to be good enough. Now I call this the scatter method that I'll be doing because there's really not going to be any rhyme or reason to how I apply the rhinestones. In a natural honeycomb method, which is often used with tumbler makers, they use one size rhinestone all the way around and then kind of fit the rhinestones into a honeycomb pattern where it looks really lined up. And I love to do that one, but it's just not going to work very well on this design where I'm using different colors in different areas of the rhinestones. So that's why I went with the scatter method. There's really not going to be any type of pattern to follow. I'm just going to use kind of like a Tetris model, but with, you know, round objects to fit these rhinestones in. And you'll be able to see that through this video. It's all about just kind of fitting them as well as possible. And it's going to have kind of like a little collage look to it. So I'm starting out my base row with just different sizes so that later on I can fill in with different sizes through the pattern. Now they are kind of crooked right now. I'm just kind of applying them to the tumbler so I have them on there. But you'll see soon enough that I am going to level them out so that they are perfectly lined up with the rim in a bit. And just to remind you, I'm not putting very much pressure at all. I'm just sticking these rhinestones right onto the glue. And I'm applying just a small amount of glue at a time because it does dry quickly. This one to fully dry, you know, it did say 25 to 30 minutes, but that's, you know, where it's really dry. And although it's not fully cured, it's dry to the point where you're not really moving the rhinestones around. And if you were to add rhinestones to it after it's partially dried, they won't stick very well. So you want to kind of be applying the rhinestones while the glue is still wet. And so, oops, that one was upside down. Let me get it out of there. Okay, sorry about that. I got distracted. I can't talk and bling at the same time very well. But as I was saying, you do want to apply the rhinestones while the glue is still really wet. And you'll notice over time, like if you do add too much glue, you'll notice over time that as it's drying, it'll be a lot tackier and you won't be able to stick your rhinestones or even move them around too much as it's drying. Now I am adding these quick enough so that as I move them in a bit, when I'm lining up this line with the rim, they will still be able to move and budge a bit, but I'm trying to go as quickly as possible to beat that dry time. Now I mentioned that this is a really good glue for beginners just because it's so easy to use. It's, as you can see, I'm just filling up, putting down a line and then filling up that line with the rhinestones pretty easily. It's moving around, but the rhinestones are not sliding around like crazy. So you can have it, you know, mostly under control. And it's not drying up too quick. So I'm trying to keep a steady hand and have a good angle on the camera. So I apologize if it gets kind of shaky or I go out of frame. I'm trying really hard. This one, it's a bit of a challenge. Okay, I'm almost done with this row. I'm going to go ahead and just go all the way around because I believe I will be quick enough to get those in there. I did list out the different glues that I'm going to be testing out in this series early on in this video, but if you do have a type of glue that you are interested in seeing how it works on a stainless steel tumbler, definitely leave it in the comments and I'll add it to the series. These are the type of glues that I use. Not all the time. I don't use all of them all the time, but I do use them in certain situations, or sometimes I'll just have a preference to use them. And these are very common in the blinger world. But again, if you have a glue that you want tested out, let me know, because I love to test out new things, new techniques, new supplies, new items. So if you're interested in learning a new product, I am too. Just leave it in the comments and I'll try to add it to the series. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, now what I'm going to do is get some wax paper, and I have like this acrylic board so it's super straight. Let me change the camera angle. Okay, so I've changed the camera angle so you can see my base row a little better. I'm going to go all the way around the base of this tumbler and push these rhinestones down to hit the acrylic board. And so that's going to put them all in one row and make them even with the rim of the tumbler. Most of these are pretty straight. They're not needing to move much, but the glue hasn't yet dried enough to where they're immovable. So I was able to apply them and adjust them before that dry time is up. You'll see these ones did get a little crooked, so they're moving more. But I'm going to let this sit for 30 minutes so that so that glue can dry. And I like to do that so that I know that this row is not going to move as I'm applying the other rhinestones underneath. And it kind of just ensures that your base row is set. I recommend that for all glues that you use, any tumbler that you start, make sure that you get that base row a solid foundation. So we'll take a quick pause here and then I'll come back in 30 minutes. Hey guys, I'm back. The glue has dried for over 30 minutes. So this baseline is now stable. You'll see that it did dry in a pretty straight line right up to the rim. So I'm gonna finish blinging this light pink color on the tumbler with the liquid fusion. I'm still gonna be using my needle tip precision bottle to get the glue out. Now, because I'm not going in a honeycomb or any type of straight line pattern, I don't really have to put this in a straight line. I can spread it out a bit like I'm doing here, just to cover like a larger area, or just do like small amounts at a time. And so that's what you're gonna see me doing throughout this video. I'm probably gonna speed up parts of this just because this is gonna take me a while. I'll time it, but it's a small area on the tumbler, But if you've ever blinged before, you know it takes a long time to lay these rhinestones down. So if I fast forward, it is just so that I'm not taking up way too much of your time. But throughout the video, you'll see how I actually apply these rhinestones. I'm doing what's called a scatter method. I think I mentioned it before. And that's just basically saying the rhinestones are going to be scattered everywhere. They're just going to be like in a collage style, Tetris style, however you want to explain it. As I'm putting these rhinestones in, I'm making sure that there is glue underneath each piece. I might have missed adding glue to a certain area of the tumbler, so I'm just going to like push up the glue from certain areas to make sure that glue is right under the rhinestone and it sticks. I think through the close-up you can kind of see how the glue is moving around. Because this glue just got laid down, it's not drying yet. And so the rhinestones are able to slide around pretty easily. As this dries, the rhinestones are not going to be able to move around as easy. The glue is going to get tacky. It's going to start holding those rhinestones in place more. But I'm just going to fill this as much as I can, as quickly as I can. And get as many rhinestones down as possible in this little glue patch. When doing the scatter method, you do still want to cover as much area as possible with the rhinestones, like put as little gaps as possible in between so that your pattern or your, design looks pretty full and complete. So you do want to choose which size rhinestone is best to fit in these areas. And so sometimes you might see me maybe place a stone down, but then change my mind and move it around or grab another stone instead. I zoomed out a little bit because I didn't know if the autofocus was going in and out of focus with it being so zoomed in. So I'm hoping this angle and this amount of zoom works really well for the video. Sometimes it's hard to get such a good picture when you're zooming in on something like this. Something so particular. As you can see, the liquid fusion is coming out pretty easily. It's being applied pretty easily. I'm able to add the rhinestones to it pretty easily. It is a great beginner glue for rhinestones. I don't even know why I keep saying beginner. I mean, it is great for beginners. Like when you're just starting out, it's the perfect glue to try. But you can continue using this forever. Like you can use this as your main and only glue to rhinestone. Hey guys, I'm back after finishing the light pink rhinestone application with the liquid fusion glue. That section took me exactly 1 hour to do. So that was quite a while. I'm going to let this dry and fully cure. Then I'm going to wash it and see how well the rhinestones stay on after the 24-hour curing time. So I'm actually going to store it upside down because as it's drying, the rhinestones may move around a bit. And so if they do, I want them to go with gravity and go down. I don't want them to go into the red area. So I'm going to store it upside down and then we'll be back in 24 hours to see how well those rhinestones stay. Okay, I'm back after 24 hours of letting the liquid fusion fully cure. The rhinestones are completely dry on here. I have already washed the rhinestones just with some dish soap, and then I have one of these little brushes, and I washed these rhinestones by just like scrubbing them in the water and the soap, and then I rinsed them and dried them. I tested it out just to see if any would fall off. None have fallen off at all, but how I tested it was I kind of like gripped this really tight and went all the way around, like just kind of rubbing them really hard. It's actually hurting my fingers, but they haven't come off. I'm rubbing really hard with my thumb, pushing up against them. None of them are budging. Not one rhinestone has fallen off yet. I'm also going to use my nails to scratch at them and see if I can pick them off. I've gone all the way around. I'm also going to pick from this way. And none are coming off. I'm doing this pretty hard. Not to break a nail, but still pretty hard. And none of them have come off. So it's safe to say that the liquid fusion does hold up after it's been fully cured. Now, this is just after 24 hours. I do plan to fully bling this and then use this for a week, like every day for a week, and see how all of the rhinestones do. But this liquid fusion has passed the initial test. My next test is going to be the Gem Tack glue. I'm going to use the Gem Tack glue to put red rhinestones in this red area. So if you're interested to see how to use the Gem Tack glue, how well it does on the rhinestones, and then what the initial testing is on that one, go ahead and check out the link in my description. I'll have a playlist to all of these glue tests, and then you can check them out. But thanks so much for checking this video out. See you on the next one.